I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, December the 6th, brought to you in part by Bovalus Vision, clostridial vaccines that spur cattle forward and never backward. The spur adjuvant leads to better feed conversion and increased weaning weights when compared to conventional clostridial vaccines. And right now, if every time you buy a bottle of Bovalus Vision, you're automatically entered to win a fancy Greeley Hatworks cowboy hat. For more information, go to power-buy-spur.com. Dribbling, and that's kind of a double meaning. Of course, your board's going up and down, and actually more than a dribble, you would think, but also kind of drooling down its face. We're very volatile, but we continue to lose ground in big bunches. It's kind of one step forward and two steps back. But we're glad that we get the ups when we get them. Don't get me wrong, we had an up on Tuesday, but it doesn't come as often as the big downs. And what we'd really like is some steadies, some moderate movement, either one way or the other, to make us have some level of confidence in this board. Right now we have zero. It's so thinly traded. And I'm mostly talking about the feeder cattle futures. It's the one that's being so volatile, but it's so thinly traded. It doesn't take very much for it to start moving and then the algorithms to take over. And I think those algorithms should be outlawed. It's hurting people. It's taking their equity away. Taking food out of their kids' mouths. And I don't think that's why those algorithms were developed. They were developed to help day traders and help those trading companies there in Chicago take advantage of being so close to the server there where all your computer trades are coming in. But it's just down, up, but more down. And I thought we'd go back and look. If you go back a smooth month ago, actually November the 3rd, if you go back to November the 3rd, your January feeder cattle have lost about $27.50 on the board. $27.50. That's about 220 bucks a head. Ouch. But at the same time, your real-time index, which is a cash price, in that same amount of time has only lost $13.40. So about half what your feeder cattle futures have lost in value there. That's kind of what we're seeing is people are still wanting the cash cattle. We're still pretty active trade in your feeder cattle markets because the people that are participating in them know that our numbers are down a lot. The hell of it is, your packers have just turned down the slaughter so much that we're starting to get cattle backed up a little bit because they have put the strainer on it now. They've really dialed down the chain speeds, and it's been to their benefit because they're getting bigger carcass weights. That looks very bearish to the outside of the industry when they see carcass weights at an all-time record high or heavy of 936 pounds, when it hadn't been that long ago that we penalized weights over 900 pounds. Now the average dressed steer carcass weight is 936. But you look at your live cattle futures, your December contract has lost a little over $16 in value in that last month, which is a little bit more than that $220 for an 8-weight yearling. It's closer to $240 for a big fat steer. But very frustrating. We hope that the new year brings us some more confidence. We hope that it brings some outside interest for the long side of our cattle futures. Early estimates for this month's cattle and feed report are bullish, so perhaps we could entice some longs to come help us a little bit there, but it's a little bit frustrating to watch it right now. I want to tell you about the Western Video Market sale that they had on Tuesday. It was one of their smaller sales, just an online sale. They do taking bids from DVAuction, is taking the bids with Western Video Market. We've had a good relationship with them for a long time now, and they do a really good job out west there. But it's not a corporate deal. It's Ellington Peak and John Rogers Video Market. And they're two of the finest gentlemen that you would ever meet anywhere. And I'd stand behind that. I'd swear to it. But they run a real classy outfit there with Western Video Market. I'm going to give you a couple of top sales from their auction that they had on Tuesday, including one lot from the Bengard Ranches. It was 58 big heifers, 850 pounds for delivery in early January. They had all the bells and whistles to be feeders. Somebody's going to keep them. Nobody told me that, but you can always tell when somebody's going to keep them when they bring $20 more than what steers bring. But they're out of Klamath Falls, Oregon there, and 58 nice heifers, 850 pounds for early January, bring 253. Wow. How about the Taylor Ranch on some calves? 175 weaned steers. Now weaned, most of your video cattle you don't always see weaned, but these are weaned on hay. They come out of Plush, Oregon. They're to weigh 550 pounds. Right now, immediate delivery on those 175 weaned steers, 550 pounds. All the bells and whistles, NHTC, verified everything, beef care, non-GMO, I mean all of it. But 550 pound steers, 175. Weaned ones bring 304. I thought that was pretty impressive too. Don't forget it, Callaway Livestock Center. That's Jack Harrison in Kingdom City, Missouri. That is exactly central Missouri. It's just a little jaunt east of Columbia, Missouri there, right in the middle of the state, right on I-70. Very easy for trucks to get in there, get loaded, and get out. But this Thursday, the 7th, at 6 o'clock p.m., they've got their cow special, and they've got some extremely rare consignments there. They've got 125 fancy side gen influence. That's Side and Stricker genetics in northern Missouri. They're about the best there, guys. But they've got 125 fancy heifers, first calf heifers, 1,100 pounds. And they've got, they've got everything you can do to one. About 25 of them will already have calves at side. They're going to be offered at Callaway Livestock Center on Thursday, this Thursday at 6 o'clock in the evening. They've got another 100 head of first calf heifers due in February and March. They'll be super fancy. 60 head of nice young black cows. That's a dispersal deal there, and they're going to have those cows are going to have 300 to 500 pound calves at side. You don't see that very often, but hopefully they bring enough as pairs to keep that deal together. 205 head dispersal of young 4 to 7 year old cows they're due in February. Another 500 head of bred cows and pairs. Don't miss that sale. Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri. You'll be impressed with the quality. 6 o'clock in the evening. Get on to DVAuction.com. Call them ahead of time. Get approved to bid. Let's talk about your board. December live cattle futures up 125 at 168.50. February up 190 at 168.97. Your back months on live cattle up 90 cents to up $1.80. January feeder cattle up 417. That's more than they were down on Monday, so that's rare to have one of our up days bigger than the down day. But like I said, who knows what's going to happen the next time that the board opens. But January feeder cattle ended the day at 214.70. March feeder cattle up $3.90 at 217.47. Your back months on feeder cattle up 277 to up 395. So big gains throughout your feeder cattle board complex there. December corn up 8 1/4 cents at 468.5. January beans down 3/4 cent is all. Wish we could get these light moves in the cattle pits, but 1305.5. closed on your regular trading for January beans. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December up 1.25 cents at 657.5. Fat cattle trade, we haven't seen anything established yet, but we are starting to see some weak sisters puke a few cattle early in the trading week here, and it's sharply lower, of course. Iowa sold 200 head on Tuesday. 170 is the price. 175 was prevalent last week, so not sure if we're going to, you know how that goes. We talked about it a few visits ago. They try to get a little more trade, and then all of a sudden by the middle of the week they say, that's the market. You know, if you want to sell them, that's just the market. Don't let them get that, guys. Nebraska, 300 head, dressed at 271. That's significantly lower, but not as much as that 170. Kansas, just a load or so, 171. Texas, 500 head at 171. That's $3 lower. Yankton, South Dakota, Stockman's Livestock Market. They had a big fat cattle sale on Tuesday, and it was sharply lower. I mean, these packers, they're pulling out all the stops. 2,800 head in overnight. 4,500 head at a fat cattle auction, brick and mortar through the ring. You don't hear of that. You don't see that anymore. It happens at Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. The conventional cattle, just the regular old fat cattle that came through, bring from 165 to 172. That was $7 to $10 lower than last week, guys. Your program type fat cattle, drug free or non-implanted, sell from 170 to 175.5. That's $7 to $10 lower also. Showing you a picture here of some really nice fat cattle. They were big. 120 head, weighed 1709. Really top quality. Bring 169.75, and the owner there missed opportunities along the way to sell those cattle for a much better price. Box beef cutout values were lower again. Choice cuts down 124 at 293.75. Selects down 370 at 259.13. Your slaughter, 251,000 through the first 2 days of the week. That's 3,000 more than last week, 3,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Legend Bank is there for you if you're looking for fast and efficient cattle financing. Greg Brooks or Ricky Taylor there, they're the top cattle lenders in North Texas, but they can help you anywhere in Texas and anywhere in Oklahoma. Get a hold of them. They kind of know what they're doing. They're not scared of cattle financing, guys. And look them up at legend.bank. Let's talk about your cattle market, feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Tuesday, setting at 221.38. That was actually up 75 cents. We had some good sales on Tuesday. We've seen things kind of moderate as far as your cash feeders go, and then to gain 75 cents on a 7-day moving average with the board being like it's been, that's pretty impressive. You guys out east or in the eastern corn belt, if you're looking for some top quality, long time weaned and all vaccinated calves to put on feed or turn out, Abington Cattlemen's Association in Virginia, that's Southern Virginia, is having a tele-auction here on Wednesday night. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern there. Butch Foster, he's the marketing agent there for Virginia Cattlemen's Association. He's one of the best guys that I know. He knows everything there is to know about those Virginia feeder cattle. He will visit with you. You can ask him questions, get a hold of them. They've got 18 loads on their tele-auction you can find on DVAuction with Abington Cattlemen's Association in Virginia. They're all long-time weaned. I tell you what, those cattle are perfect out there in Virginia. Some of the fanciest cattle you can find anywhere. 18 loads of them sell 7 o'clock tonight on the tele-auction there. Don't forget about Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri. They got that special replacement cow sale on Friday, this Friday the 8th at 5 o'clock p.m. Including in there is 400 fancy bred heifers from Ronnie Watkins. Big bred heifers. They're ready to go. 1,150 pounds. And they're bred to low birth weight bulls. You'll love them. They start calving February the 1st in a very narrow 60-day calving window. Let's talk about your big sales. On Tuesday, in Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri is one of them. 2,300 head, and that's fairly light for them this time of year. Of course, they had a big sale last week, and then they had a big weanback sale on Friday, so didn't have a whole lot of cattle that were really needing to go bad that went. Another 604 sold on their in-house video they do with DVAuction. The market was unevenly steady, mostly small bunches. It was a lighter run and fairly plain in the quality as reported by your Federal State Market News Service there. But one that was not, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. One of our favorites there. They had a good sale on Tuesday. They're 5 to 8 weight, 5 up to 800 pound steer calves were higher. Heavier feeder steers were lower, but your 9 weights were still very, very impressive. It was your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day. Look at your best tested weights on the steers. 360 head of 651 6-weight steers, average 651 at 247.67. 431 head of 7-weight steers, average 755 at 230.43. And 748 head, a big run of 9-weight steers there at Beaver, Oklahoma. Most of them were run off the grass, which you don't see very often this time of year. They averaged 936 with a weighted average price of $219.27. Very impressive, guys. How about Lone Star Stockyards? I stopped by there on Tuesday morning and was visiting with some people. I saw 66 800-pound steer calves, and they were soft calves. Now, I think they were weaned, but man, they looked young and soft there. Still bring 215 and a quarter, come off a local ranch here around Amarillo. How about Winter Livestock, La Junta, Colorado? John Campbell and company there, 63 steers weigh 612 at 270. Unionville Livestock Market in Unionville, Missouri had their one of their feature premier consigners there, the Rockin' R bunch out of Lucerne, Missouri. They know how to background them there. Had 7 loads of 8-weight yearlings in there. They all averaged between 850 and 900 pounds, and right in the middle there was amazing how consistent they were. But those 7 loads had an average on the load was $879 with an average price per load of $228.64, weighing that heavy, almost 900 pounds. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of Philip the Giant. Philip Livestock Auction in Philip, South Dakota, sold 125 steer calves. They weighed 505 at 315.50. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.